Good morning, Alta Realty Group agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we're going to talk about off-market listings. So it should be a really good one. It's definitely not something that's super easy to do or for people that don't want to work, but it's definitely something that we should be aware of because it's a great source of listings. So before I get into today's presentation, let me bring Bill Seitz onto the line. Good morning, Bill. How are we doing today?
Hey, good morning, Kevin. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So, and we'll bring on Cameron in a second here as well. But first of all, just hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend with family and friends. I know we had a great weekend. We took our RV down to the beach and just parked in the sand and stayed there for about 12 hours. So that was the way we did it. How was your 4th of July, Bill?
Yeah, it was good. The sun finally decided to come out, for those of us who are coastal Southern California. June gloom and May gray has rung true, and it's been pretty much ugly and gray almost the whole first part of summer. But it was nice to have it. The sun came out. It was beautiful. And just barbecued, had some friends over, tried to stay out of trouble. And keep it mellow.
Exactly. Stay home, stay out of trouble. I like it. All right, good. And let me bring on Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage. Good morning, Cameron. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Can't believe it's Wednesday already.
I know. Flying by. And I can't believe it's July. Just the whole year is just flying by as usual.
Yep.
All right, good, pal. Well, why don't you bring us up to speed with what's going on in Clearview Mortgage land?
Yep. So today, the 10-year is the lowest it's been since February 17th. So pretty crazy. Rates are the lowest they've been in, almost 5 months right now as of today. And I don't know about those meteorologists getting the forecast right, but all those forecasts I was looking at for rates dropping, they seem to be pretty correct. So they're doing a good job. But that's exciting news. One thing I did is I priced up a couple scenarios based on purchase price and down payment to go over with you guys so that you kind of know for your clients where the market's at. And that's something that we haven't really done. So I just got a couple. Basically right now for a max conventional loan, where, basically right on the line of being a jumbo with 10% down, you're looking at a 2.875 right now with no points, which is obviously really good for a 10% down payment in this market. And that is with 760 credit. All these are based on 760 credit. So under that, the rates change a little bit, but it doesn't really get a dramatic change until you get to like 680. And then another scenario, same scenario, 20% down, you're looking at a 2.799. So 20% down, 10%, they're pretty close, honestly. So that helps if your borrowers don't want to put, a bunch of cash down, just want to do 10% or even 5% in that scenario. You'd get just about the same rates. And then this is the crazy one is right now for jumbos, and this is lender paid, which means if you go borrower paid, you get a little more competitive rates, but you're looking at a 3.25 no points on a jumbo at 20% down right now, and that's on a $1.2 million sales price. And you can go up from there. Rates stay pretty much the same, but obviously really good rates right now that help your clients no matter what scenario they're in, get the house with the lower payment and get approved easier. So
that's fantastic, buddy.
Well, Cameron, your forecast was true. You were telling me 60-90 days ago, you're like, yep, this is I think it's going to happen, and there you are.
Yeah, it's good to be right once in a while, right?
We'll take it.
100%.
Yep. And then sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Oh yeah, no, you finish up, then I'm gonna just run through one more thing.
Yep. And then I'm working on a jumbo loan right now for one of the Alta realtors, and basically he got almost a no cost loan at a 10% down. And you always have to pay those title and escrow fees and stuff, but you can't really avoid that. And a 1-day approval back on that on a jumbo loan. So you go to like a Wells Fargo or a Chase or some other retail lender, it might take you 2 weeks just to get approval. So we get that approval in 24 hours and know immediately what we need to do to get that client clear to close as quickly as possible, which gives you obviously a lot of leverage. So, you know, it's not just the conventional loans that we're getting done quick. The jumbos are really just as quick, and just makes it a lot smoother ride because we know what to expect immediately. So pretty cool stuff.
100%. Thanks, Cameron. I think too, if you're still having troubles with multiple offers, and you want to make the strongest offer possible, if you have financing or need financing for your borrower, give us a call, give Cameron a call. We can structure the contract with you and customize it to give the best possible timelines, shrink it down to maybe like a 4-day loan contingency. There's ways to put the contract together that make you look very competitive. And it's the other parties that you're competing against aren't going to be able to do that. I can guarantee you that. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're struggling, you haven't gotten offers accepted, you're getting beat out for this reason or that reason, it might be that your contingency periods are just too stretched out, and we want to help shorten those as low as we can and make you as competitive as you can when you're submitting those offers. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, well said, guys. We need all the help we can get. And so, coming in with these super uber strong offers, that's a massive way to provide a little bit of an upside for your client.
100%. And just one more thing, Kevin, I want to
Sure.
thank everybody that all our agents that have been utilizing Clearview. We've really started to bring some really good working professional relationships into the real estate and to lending side. We closed out the quarter with over $32 million in funded loans and over 70 loans for the second quarter. And it's a team effort from all of us. And I just want to really say thank you to all the agents that are reaching out to Cameron and his team and building those professional relationships and allowing us all to close more real estate in a timely fashion. So thank you.
And that's by far a company best quarter, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So good direction, brings stability to the company, all that stuff. And so really, really good, exciting stuff all around. All right, cool. So one other couple minor housekeeping things before we get into our presentation today. I want you guys to always be checking with Breakthrough Broker. I know I've showed you guys this before. We do have a lot of new agents on the line, which is also awesome to see. And so Breakthrough Broker is provided by Tycor. And so if you need to get in touch with our Tycor reps, we can put you in contact with Adam Cleary, and he can make sure that you guys get access to Breakthrough Broker. So there's a lot of really good marketing stuff, but I keep seeing really cool Spanish speaking materials. So we have a lot of agents that work with the Spanish speaking community. So these are great to put on social media. With the Breakthrough Broker Plus, which I think is only about $9 a month, you can customize a lot of really, really cool Spanish speaking social posts. So I think that'll help with some of our clients or some of our agents that are working with the Spanish speaking community. So wanted to show you guys that. And another thing is make sure that you guys know the blog content for this month has been published. So everybody that's on the call should have received an email from us letting you know that blog content is available. Even if you didn't get the email, you can always go to our corporate website, arghome.net, and go put your cursor over About and come down to News and Insider Tips, which is our quote unquote blog. And so this is where you can view all of our past blog posts over the last couple of years. And this is where you can come to copy this blog post and this blog content to put on your website and on your blog and in your monthly newsletters. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. It's there. It was posted about 6 days ago. So make sure that you get that out to your clients because it is a great talking point. It's a way for us to, it's a reason for us to contact our clients and make sure that they know that we're still out there doing real estate and serving the community. So that is always something that everybody should be doing once a month. And now let me bring up my graphic for today's presentation. Okay, so off-market properties, they are an absolute gold mine if you can get them. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. This is not just a slam dunk. You don't just go out and just have them all of a sudden. So, and especially in this heated market, if you can find these off-market properties, obviously it's a huge win. They're not on the MLS. There's less competition. To find an estimate of what they're worth, we can run, some analyses. We can also just go to things like Zillow and Redfin and get, a quick estimate of what these things are worth. But it's a really good idea to understand the market in your community. And a really good technique is to do some direct mail. And so what do I mean by that? Well, you can do a direct mail piece that basically can allude to what the potential home could be worth. So you can, contact specific people with specific, you can basically create an individual analysis of that person's home and send it directly to them. So you could do this, of course, by getting in touch with Tycor or one of the other reps and getting information about homeowners in a certain area. So you can find out what their home is worth. You can find out what they owe on their home, and you can present a very nice analysis. And so that's something that is a huge benefit to somebody that receives that information. You've basically done a whole bunch of work for them and given them a scenario of, what their home might be worth, what they can be, expecting to sell their home for possibly. And so that way you can possibly create a listing where there wasn't one. Because one thing that some homeowners kind of look at the market and they're not really they're not going to consider selling unless they're kind of presented with the opportunity. Some people are just a little bit lazy, or they're just not really thinking that. But in today's market, the home prices being what they are, record prices in most places, it's a great idea right now to present that offer to someone and say, hey, I know you're maybe not thinking about, selling your home right now, but in case you are, I want you to be aware these are the numbers that you're looking at, right? So really, really good idea. Again, this is not easy. This is grunt work. You got to get your hands dirty, but for the agents that don't mind doing that, it's a really good idea. And it shows that you're a different caliber agent when you're contacting someone with very specific information. And so you could just, do this maybe 1 or 2 a week, 5 a week, right? Pick homes in your farm that are not currently for sale. The homeowner, the information, and prepare a CMA and send it to them with a nice cover letter and your information. And then of course, follow up, and make sure that they got that information, and, just make sure that it was important to them and they learned from it. You don't have to push anything, but you just want people to be aware. And when you give that information for free, that is a huge benefit to that person. So you're really providing value. So that's a really good idea. Number 2 would be driving for dollars. Yes, get in your car and drive your farm and notice what's going on. Look for properties that maybe there's construction going on. Maybe you'll see a moving van. Maybe, in my neighborhood about 2 weeks ago, I noticed that, somebody was starting to move stuff out. Well, one of the ladies that lived there, she passed away. And so, I walked over and I talked to the kids, and they said, oh yeah, no, we're gonna have to start, looking for a realtor. And so just things like that, just right place, right time, noticing what's going on, being in your community. You can pick up on these things that are happening within your community, and you can go ahead and start a conversation with those people. Say, hey, you mind if I prepare a CMA for you, for free? No problem. Let me help you out. And that way you have a good idea of what to expect. So, Bill, any quick comments on that?
Nope, I don't have any. I do have some comment on some for sale by owner stuff, but I can maybe do that on once you run through it.
Perfect. Yeah, we may come across some of those points, but yeah, I would appreciate your
Okay.
input.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so look for the clients that are, and then your clients, your buyers, and so you might know some of your buyers, are looking for a fixer-upper. So when you're driving the neighborhood, look for homes that are maybe not quite that nice looking, and you can do the same exact thing. Prepare a little offer, on behalf of your clients. So that's another really good way to perhaps, look for these off-market properties. Another one that's fairly obvious, and I know everybody's already kind of working this, but you can work it a little bit more, is word of mouth. Of course, getting into conversations. Remember, last week we talked about, the number of conversations that we're getting into. Actually, it was 2 weeks ago, but the number of conversations that we're getting into is a direct correlation to deals. So if we're getting into more and more conversations about asking people, hey, are there any people that you know of that are looking to sell their home, or they are, thinking about it, they don't really know, those are the ones that we're going to find just by having those conversations. So being the squeaky wheel agent and always asking the questions, always stopping to communicate with people on the street, that's how you're going to find out some of these sneaky little listings that may pop up. So that's a really good one too. And then number 4 here on our list is auctions. So great way to find unlisted properties. There's all kinds of different auctions that go on. There's, tax lien auctions, there's home auctions that come up. And so great idea is to attend those auctions, be there for that stuff. And it's also a good way for you to network and see, the kinds of people that are at those auctions and communicate with them, right? Number 5 is public records. So, that's kind of the same thing as having a good relationship with your TICOR rep and making sure that you are, getting those farm, getting the records, the public records, and understanding what's going on in your farm. And who the owners are, how long some of these people have owned their properties. So there's a ton of information that we can glean from public records. And Tim, our recruiter, always talks about, that's one thing that you should be doing on a regular basis is going down to the county courthouse and finding out what's going on. Meet with the city planners, find out what kind of plans are going on. What are the different projects that might be coming up? And that way you're going to be a much more knowledgeable realtor in your area, and you have the information. You've got to be the expert in your area. So number 6 is kind of a no-brainer, is Fsbo websites, of course. So, people that are trying to sell their property by themselves, they are definitely a great source of these little pocket listings, as sometimes they're called, because I think I forget what the exact stat is, but only about 8% of people that try to sell their home actually do it. I think it's somewhere around there. So obviously the rest of those people end up getting a realtor. That's always been a big source of listings for realtors. So nothing new here. It's still a great way to try to get these little pocket listings. And then number 7 is cold calling. The dreaded cold calling, right? In a couple of my webinars, I talk about, doing the worst thing that you have to do in a day in the morning. We call it eating the frog. So eating the frog a lot of times is cold calling. So get up in the morning, do your cold calls in the morning, get them out of the way because they're horrible and nobody likes to do them. But picking up the phone and talking to homeowners and just, same thing, letting people know what their home is worth. Hey, can I prepare a CMA for you? Great. You don't have to bug people. You don't have to, take up a lot of their time. You just want to provide some value to them. So again, cold calling, picking up the phone, talking to these people, and making sure that they know that you can provide the information, you can market their home, you can do all those different things that realtors can do. Now, with that said, there is the MLS Statement 8.0 Clear Cooperation Policy, right? So that is, in a nutshell, that says that when you get a listing, you have to list that on the MLS, right? So Bill, maybe you can chime in a little bit, but it was definitely a significant roadblock to off-market listings, when they passed this, and this was passed just in January 2020. So just last year, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to market these properties. Now, there are a few different kind of little loopholes with this. So it's worth noting that the MLS Statement 8.0 is not the law in the traditional sense, but it is, so NAR is not a legal entity, but all members and brokerages and agents of the association must abide by the policy. So it is important that everybody that is on the line today, who are realtors, who are part of associations, you do need to abide by this. Now, it doesn't mean the end of off-market listing. So NAR's new policy has built-in options that allow members, agents, and brokers to maintain both limited and full off-market listings. So, for example, under MLS Statement 8.0, sellers can opt out of the MLS IDX or internet display. Okay, so it's still quote unquote on the MLS, but it's not for display, right, Bill?
Yeah, and I think I don't know. It's kind of an annoying policy in a lot of ways because you used to be able to put like a coming soon sign on your listing, right? And and I would do it. I would do it all the time. You know what I mean? And if I knew I could pick a buyer up and represent both seller and buyer and give the seller a better deal, and it's a win-win, then I would do that. And they really want, they're trying to prevent that kind of stuff from happening now, right? Because they consider coming soon to be marketing the property.
Yeah.
And you're not allowing your other members in your MLS to participate in that, right? Because you're just kind of marketing to you, not to everyone in the collaborated, MLS or board group.
It's not fair, Bill.
Yeah, well,
I'm just kidding.
More rules and regs.
That's literally what they're trying to do, so it makes it more difficult. But you can, if you have a buyer, and a lot of us have a lot of buyers on the fence right now, you can present these before they get to the MLS. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I think it's 24 hours now is what they'll let you do. So if you put a sign up in someone's front yard, they want it into the MLS within 24 hours.
Right.
So they can still consider putting a for sale sign or the brokerage sign, or your name and all the information out there as marketing the property. Yeah. So they give you a real tight window now. And a lot of times signs, maybe you're not going to get the buyer for the property that you're listing, but you're going to get a buyer or a seller from a subsequent property in the neighborhood, or you're going to pick up a buyer that is interested, but maybe that property is not going to work for them, right?
Yeah. So those last little part is just certain off property or off market options previously available, such as private listing networks, no longer permitted. Those were really cool little networks that there was quite a few of them back in the day, but none of that stuff is permitted anymore. And then Charles Barnes, hello Charles, good morning, Val. He asked, what about listing the property and after a day or two change the status to hold do not show while putting the final touches on the home for sale? I think it's a good idea, Charles. Yeah,
I don't think that's an issue. That might be a little loophole, Charles, because you're kind of getting it out there and then you're like, oh, pump the brakes, because it's already in the feed, right? So it's already being pushed out. So that's an interesting one. I wonder, that's something for us to look into for sure.
For sure. And then I've got the, what I'll do is I'll make sure to share the MLS clear cooperation policy. I'll share this particular page with you guys so you can read up on it and make sure that you're, it's always good to just brush up on these things and make sure that we're not in violation of anything. So I'll make sure I include this link when I send out the replay today. So this is just from the NAR, National Association of Realtors website. So that is the bulk of our presentation today. And
Yeah, let's go back to the for sale by owner real quick, Kevin,
yeah,
because
go for that. Yeah,
this is something I kind of tinkered with, several years ago, and I just wanted to see how the process worked as far as targeting for sale by owners, because there's a lot of very successful agents that can do it. They and that's all they do. They just go after for sale by owners, because as you said, whatever the statistic is, only 8% end up, or less than 10% end up selling the home by themselves. They end up with an agent. So when they realize how hard it is, what the legal exposure is, when they realize that it's not easy, and they do get worn out and tired, they do end up with an agent. One thing that I was just kind of, haven't done it in a while. I just did it while you were going through this stuff. I just typed in forsalebyowner.com, and right away I pulled up a property. It's a home listed by Ken Schoenfield, and this is in, where am I here? This is in Chino Hills for $918,000, and it has the Ken. It says, please call Kenny after this description. So what the sellers do is they sign up for this for sale by owner, to be a part of that website and to have that exposure. But it also, if you want to solicit these people, we know what's better than, this guy's going to sell his house. This guy wants to sell his house. The stats say that Kenny's not going to get it done. So the thing is, what I was doing, I was kind of just tinkering with it. I wanted to see if it was a good angle. And I did this a couple times. I contacted people like Kenny, and I asked him, say, hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm not calling to try to list your home, but I do have buyers in the area. If I were able to bring you a buyer, would you be willing to pay me market rate for compensation? That's one way to do it. Another way is also say, hey, I work in the area. I see that you don't have any flyers on the property. If I were to provide you with a professional flyer with my information on it, and help you market the property with no charge to you, would you be willing to let me do that? And one of two things is going to happen. One, he's still going to get tired trying to sell the property, right? And if you're in good communication with him, you've put a nice professional flyer together, maybe you've offered to do something else for him, he's going to call you, right? When he's ready to list, he's going to call you. So it's a very simple, non-threatening way to talk to these people. Once again, they're going to sell. They want to sell. They're hung up in their mind that they don't want to pay 5% or whatever the going rate is in your community. And so you can kind of start building that relationship in a soft, helpful way by offering a flyer or some sort of marketing tool, and really, disarm them from the evil realtor, right? And build that relationship. And I just spent 2 minutes on my computer finding multiple sellers with phone numbers. It's not that hard.
No, it's not hard at all. It takes a little bit of doing. It's all you have to do is do it, right?
That's it.
No, I really like that. Marcella says, absolutely, I did it. So she's on it.
I have no doubt that Marcella did it.
Right?
Marcella's not afraid to talk to anybody.
That's right. She's one of those realtors that not afraid to get her hands dirty. And, she does get out there and pound the pavement, and she does a lot of really cool stuff. So yeah, that's a really good idea, Bill, and simple, a great use of time. We're always talking about our time and what do we do with our time and how do we utilize it most effectively. What a great use of time.
And what's good about that too is that you get practice. So it's like, there's a ton of for sale. But if I were to just go in like a 10-mile circumference from Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, as the crow flies, and just say, okay, I'm just going to work and call for sale by owners in this little area, there's going to be a lot of them. And, I could pick up the phone and do 10 calls probably a day. And you know what, maybe you're going to be a little bit, a little rusty or a little rough at the first, but you're going to get good at it. And it doesn't cost you a thing. Just a little bit of time, a little bit of effort.
So that's obviously using a combination of the Fsbos and cold calling, and just cold call the Fsbos. Great idea. So no excuse why any of our agents can't be doing that. And it is a great way to establish those relationships and be the squeaky wheel and be the person that wins that listing, right?
Something would be useful too, Kevin, is if in the subsequent webinar that we maybe build out a template of a flyer template, so we can, if anybody is interested in doing something like this, where they want to offer like a for sale by owner, a professional flyer, or they want to showcase their property and be quote unquote helpful to the owner. It might be worth us just putting something together that's a good marketing template for our agents to look at, utilize, adopt if they want.
Oh, absolutely. We have so many different templates and so many different ways to create flyers. So absolutely great idea. And that way we're ready when we get into these conversations and someone says, yeah, that'd be great. Send me a flyer. Why wouldn't I? We can, we've got a lot of ways to do that very simply and to get that done in minutes, really. So why wouldn't we do it, right?
No, 100%. And I think it's, I don't really see flyer boxes anymore around town. But 10 years ago or less, that was like part of the whole listing presentation. You go over there, you do all your thing, your song and dance, you do the listing presentation, you get your marketing material ready. Part of that was putting not only advertising or wherever you're going to advertise the property, but it was also putting a flyer box in the front of the property. And people walking by are, So for sale by owner, I don't know how much traffic they're getting to forsalebyowner.com, but I don't think it's that much. And so
we know that pretty much.
You've got a better chance of getting somebody in the neighborhood that wouldn't know there's no for sale sign in the property, but maybe they'll let you put a flyer box up. Maybe they'll let you put that marketing out there, and like I said, you're not a threat because you're helping, right? The whole thing is you're helping this seller.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking out loud here. Legally, I wonder if we could arm these Fsbos with one of our writers that we use, our text writers, that says, text bill sites to 79564 to get the property info. And I wonder if we could create, a site for them. But I think that would probably start infringing on, us actually listing the property, right?
Yeah, that could get into gray area. I think that, we can kind of look into some of this stuff, but I just like the real soft, easy, you know what I mean? There's no, expectation other than you're helping them with a little marketing piece, and you know what I mean? It's just not keeping it too, not getting too sticky.
I think you're right. And, the end game is, of course, to get the full listing, put it on the MLS, market it properly, like a real realtor. Right?
That's right.
So would you just want the soft lead in, the communication, you want to open up the relationship, and then, come in at some point with the hard sell and say, all right, this isn't working, right? Let me help you out and get this thing sold, right?
Well, yeah. And as the market softens, these, right now the market's hot. These for sale by owners are probably, I imagine that statistic is probably not as low as or as high. Well, how's that going? How's it gonna go? They're probably having more success than they normally would, just because of the nature of the market. But as the market starts to change, and I think it's already maybe softening a little bit in some locations. These for sale owners are going to have even a harder time trying to get their property sold without an agent.
For sure. So all good stuff. Well, Bill, much appreciated. Thanks a lot for the input and your insights. Always appreciated.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, great. Well, agents, thanks for joining us again today. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to learn about some marketing stuff and learn about little bits and facets of the real estate marketing business. So get out there, make it a great week and a productive week. And we will see you guys next week on the webinar. Have a great one. Bye-bye.